Alright everybody, welcome back. Round 2 action. If you watched us live, I appreciate the dedication of watching what just happened on our stream. If you're watching on YouTube, for some reason started watching round 2 instead of round 1, go back and watch that nonsense. And Zach Villanco went real deep with some crypt gasts. It took a month of Sundays to do so. Let's talk about our feature match here in round 2. On the right, Yen-shyang, who's helped co-commentate the last few weeks because he would literally get here from work about 20 minutes too late to play in the event. This week he got here on time and he's back in the tournament playing what is, if you've been watching long enough, you should easily identify the deck that Yen plays, which is always Jun Midrange, tuned to whatever metagame is currently present. He's mowing down a 6. His opponent, Reid, who's playing the deck that Alec Myers usually pilots, which is the Naya Midrange deck with Domries in it. Should be interesting. There's an appearance of the pouring. Alright. So Nick shocks himself for a turn 1 absence Pilgrim. Apparently he's on the beatdown plan. So Pilgrim piles in there, and Nick has no follow-up. Yen's going to load up a turn 2 Farseek. Talk about this each and every week, these mid-range and control decks that play green. There is no greater start they can have than the turn 2 Farseek. Surely the percentage of games that Yen's going to win at this point, much, much higher. Looks like both players have chosen to do the Grief the Stream strategy by playing their lands above permanents. Nick's going to tap 3 of those lands and absence Pilgrim for a Garrick Relentless. He's going to fire up a Wolf token. He's going to have to dig pretty deep for out of the token box. Yen not as weak to the Planeswalker plan as I wondered what was going on with Farseek, to be perfectly honest. Yen not as weak to the Planeswalker plan as some other control decks might be, as he does play a fair amount of direct damage. A bonfire off the top will take care of it. But he is going to have to come up with something relatively quickly, or the card advantage gained by that Garrick. And the Wolves it makes is going to take this game, or is going to put this game out of reach. So Yen thinking about something pretty long and hard here. Or just Hollywooding for the camera. That could be an option, I don't know. Both of these players are on 1 win. I don't know how many rounds we're playing tonight. I don't know if we're playing 4 or 5, as we do have 24 players in the event. As we've lost some regulars to a modern tournament about 45 minutes away. And a lot of people probably gearing up for the pre-release tomorrow. Can't imagine what what we're debating here. It's a Liliana. Going to make Nick sack a creature. So Liliana is going to die next turn. Assuming the Pilgrim piles in and takes care of it. So as expected, the Pilgrim takes down Liliana. Make another wolf, play a stomping ground tapped, and just pass the turn back. So Nick really not threatening any fast clock, but until Yen can deal with the Garrett Relentless, in a pretty good spot here. 5 mana before I can only assume a Thragtusk. It is in fact a Thragtusk. So Yen stabilizing, moving up to 22. Got a pretty big body on the board. He's already found his wolf run. So next turn he could effectively deal with the Garrick. Some comments in the chat about how this is a little bit difficult to watch. I would agree with you. But one of the problems with filming the FNM is that people know you're filming the FNM and sometimes take some liberties to ham it up to the camera. But as long as everybody's having fun out there, that's all that really matters, as this is mostly just for funsies myself. Tapping, pump fake. Nick thinking it over here. Just going to throw all of his creatures into one pile there. Playing what looks like another Thragtusk. And then an Arbor Elf. Another card that we're losing from M13. But for a period of time, both it and Elvish Mystic will be available, so you will have 2 equivalent mana elf effects in the same standard environment. So there's Olivia, which we all know the power of. It can easily take over the game should Yen be allowed to untap with it in play. But Yen just passing back. Cannot find a 6th land. So not letting him shoot anything on his turn. So Nick rather, I should say, offering up the trade of Thragtusk. They're both going to get their beast tokens. And they've lost steam here. And now the game returns to its regularly scheduled layout. As lands recede down to the bottom, well, at least in Yen's case, into a pile on the right, as is his signature. So let's see what Nick's follow-up is. Fiend Hunter, targeting Liliana. Make another wolf with Garrick. This is getting quite out of control. Is it a bonfire off the top, or is that the 6th land? It is the 6th land. We're going to go ahead and shock ourselves here. So Yen has access to 6 mana now. And we're going to mortars everything in a very dramatic fashion. That is pretty brutal. Minty Mortars is a card that shows up in a lot of decks, both aggro and control, but I honestly don't know if we have seen a Mortars Overloaded. And being able to attack with a Beast token, Yen trades 1 card for every non-land permanent on Nick's side of the board. Luckily for Nick, Thragtusk is a card that's still legal to play, and he finds another one on the top of his deck. But Yen 1 mana away from being able to, and there it is, being able to ping and steal the Thragtusk. So Liliana doing a ton of work here. So he'll be able to shoot and steal, then attack for 7 damage this turn. Oh no, we're just going to attack and then shoot the Thragtusk 3 times prior to damage resolving. So Liliana trades with the Liliana activations trade with the front half of the Thragtusk, leaving just the Beast token. Nick's going to offer up that trade. So at least in this situation, if Yen can't find another creature of his own, Olivia can't get any bigger as there is no target. However, Yen does have the ability to pump for 5 here, so we're going to get into for 11 a turn with the Wolf Run, putting Nick on a 2-turn clock. I think it's very unfortunate that I'm in here by myself during the time when Yen overloads that Mortars and then attacks Garrick for lethal, because that's a pretty saucy spot. One of the most effective uses of one card I've seen in quite a long time. Well, here's Aurelia. That has the opportunity of taking this game over a little bit, but unfortunately for Nick, staring down a Vampire Nighthawk, that Aurelia is not nearly as effective as it could normally be. Bonfire off the top should be enough to win this game. Nope, just another land. We're going to ping and steal. No? I think Yen showboating a little bit here. Shooting the Aurelia when he should ping and steal. But I think going for style points here. Nick finds a Huntmaster on top, but can't beat the board state as it is. With that much mana, no removal, and a Wolf Run in play, either of Yen's creatures were lethal. So Yen's Jund midrange deck, off the back of an overloaded Mizium Mortars, takes game 1 of this round 2 feature match. And with that said, devoted fans of the stream should know what time it is, as each and every week we use this opportunity in the middle of the second round to try and give away some Magic cards. You might have seen at the beginning of this game or the beginning of the last game, we start all of our feature matches with a delightful game of rock, paper, scissors using these 3 parody cards from the Unglued expansion. If you want to start your games not unlike a boss, make sure you do so. Head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/ZachSellsMagic. Step 1, bookmark it. Come on, help a brother out. Daily updates multiple times a day with Magic news and content, as well as stream information. Look for the post I just made, which is a post saying something to the effect of, we're giving away a play set of cards. Like, comment, share it on your own stream. 3 ways to enter. It also shows up in my Twitter feed at ZachSellsMagic on Twitter. Make sure you follow me and retweet that post. That's 4 separate ways to enter each week, and we'll enter you into a drawing that we'll make next week. And each week we'll give away a play set of these signature cards for the stream. Are they worth a ton of money? No. Are they worth having? Absolutely. So one of the few ways we can give back to you guys, another way you can help us out, as these guys sideboard up for game 2, is to follow us on our various forms of social media. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ZachSellsMagic, where literally everything I have ever recorded and streamed is archived for your viewing pleasure. You can follow me on Twitter at ZachSellsMagic, like I talked about, with daily updates about a variety of Magic-related stuff. You know, a few one-liners now and then. Most importantly, head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/ZachSellsMagic and like the page for daily updates, Magic content, and discussion. And obviously, you're watching us live on Twitch right now, so make sure to click the follow button, which is above and to the left of the video screen on the old layout and below and to the left on the new layout. And you'll get an email notification anytime our stream goes live. It's actually a pretty useful feature. I use it for other streams that I follow, not unlike the Magic Pro Tour or Star City Games. And every time the stream goes live, it'll send you an email, let you know that there is Magic to be watched in case you had forgotten that was an option. I would not recommend it if I didn't use it myself. So, Yen up a game here with his Jund mid-range deck as we move into game 2. 30 minutes left in the round, plenty of time. for both of these players. Still me in here by myself until someone wins and or loses out there and decides to stop in and help a brother out. So no turn 1 or turn 2 play from Nick. Let's see if Yen's got the turn 2 Farseek. He does indeed. The most important play in this game as far as I'm concerned. Does Nick have turn 3 Domri? He does. That might be just as important as Domri on the play gets out of bonfire range. And unless Yen can come up with some kind of creature answer for it, or a Dreadbore, the incremental card advantage off of Domri is going to be pretty brutal. And obviously the ultimate is nigh unbeatable. So there's the 4th land from Yen. There is an Abrupt Decay on Domri, which is another answer that I had forgotten about. We oftentimes get Nick reminding again that Rootbound Crags do not tap for black mana. Here's the Boros Reckoner. Boros Reckoner really good at Magic, just not nearly as good against a deck like Yen's, which is mono removal spells, including this Liliana of the Veil, the perfect answer in this situation. Play a Liliana, make you sack a creature, take no damage from the Reckoner's trigger. Shout out to my man Spike Mode in chat, just making an appearance. It was thanks to him that we found out yesterday late about the apparent inclusion of another Elspeth Planeswalker coming in this fall's Theros block set. You can head over to the Facebook page for a discussion on that and a link to the forum article that we're referring to. So, Nick finds in Assemble the Legion, a sideboard card that is pretty darn good in this matchup. Well, that's also pretty good too. Thundermaw Hellkite comes in, taps down Olivia. That Liliana's going to go the way of the Buffalo.
Hello, America.
Aaron Daly now joining us.
Aaron Daly, indeed. The Bald Dynamo.
The Bald Dynamo. 1 week someone did ask, hey, where's that bald guy? On the chat. So you made enough impression that people wanted to know where you were.
Well, I'm here.
I told him that you were not here at the time because you weren't.
That's an accurate description of my location.
I was all over that one. I knocked it out of the park. So
Gruul match. Oh
no, we've got Nick is playing this Naya Domri deck that Alec has played in the past, and he's up against Yen playing his patented.
So I had a random Naya thought today.
Okay.
Would it be viable to have Reckoners and then Clan Defiance? So you can hit the Reckoner and the player, and then just double the amount you're hitting to the player. Is that like a viable strategy to anybody?
I think it's fine, except for the fact that it is very expensive to do that.
Yes. Oh, Thundermaw. I wish I owned.
So a very interesting play there was happening while we were discussing the Clan Defiance play as Thundermaw piles in, Yen in response steals it with Olivia, but then that makes it big enough to exile with Selesnya Charm.
I assume you know that Nick Reid is running Selesnya Charm. I just got here.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Oh, it's game 2 anyway. Never mind.
Yeah, it's game 2. The most important card right now is Yen needs to find an answer to this Assemble the Legion because it will wreck him. Because Yen's playing for the long game anyway, and the longer the game goes, the more dudes Nick is going to have.
I swear that Assemble the Legion had 2 counters on it a second ago. Oh, I'm looking at the other screen.
You fell for the trap.
I did.
You're watching the delayed second monitor as we monitor the actual Twitch feed.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not fun. It's always funny to me because at least you have what I would like to say a fairly limited experience here in the broom closet, as you've only sat in maybe four times or so. There are people
I pop in every now and again.
There have been people who have sat in this seat for the better part of 10 months who still look at the delay and then say, oh, he cast another Garrick? No, that's the same one he cast the first time. You're just 4 minutes behind.
That's the delay, 4 minutes?
No, I
You're
just
exaggerating.
I'm living in hyperbole.
You mean hyperbole?
Hyperbole.
It's a common mistake. Don't worry.
Is hyperbole like a legitimate... is it just a portmanteau, or is it like a legitimate alternate pronunciation for that card?
It's not.
Because I know like Calliope is a legitimate dictionary.
Well, you know what's not legitimate? Omniscience and Rancor.
Rancor.
Rancor rhymes with anchor. You're welcome, America.
I'm glad you found yet another time to slip in your hatred of the word rancor. Oh, I haven't been keeping up on the count, man. Is that the first access we've had this game?
Yeah, he just came down, I think.
Good. Shout out also to my man Kyle George in the chat, just joining us from the greater Cincinnati metro area.
And he saves a lot of time by typing the letter D instead of TH when he wants to say that. Just saving all kinds of time.
Well, I believe what you're talking about is the street slang of that Selesnya charm.
Of the young people.
Yeah,
I understand.
It's obvious that you're not very hip,
yeah.
Aaron.
I didn't realize hip was hip again.
It's not. I was. It's another fun joke because I was needling myself. Let's talk a little bit more about this Magic game, as I may have missed a Thragtusk previously, but...
I don't think you did.
Okay.
It's the same one, so what was that?
I'm trying to remember the last game if I remember. That is a Fiend Hunter. You of all people should know Fiend Hunter when you see one.
Okay.
So Fiend Hunter, no doubt targeting Olivia. So here Yin has a choice. He does have enough mana that he can shoot and steal something in response if he wants to. That really isn't going to benefit him, but he can also alternatively machine gun all of those.
I mean, the Thundermaw
1/1s. Well, he can't. But he's just going to lose it because I'm sure the Fiend Hunter is targeting Olivia, so it'll phase out and then.
I thought Olivia's effect was permanent, or is it just as long as she's on the battlefield?
As long as you control Olivia. He could ping the Fiend Hunter 3 times in response to the trigger and then lose Olivia forever. Probably a bad play, but he could do it. No, in response, he is just going to machine gun the Assemble the Legion tokens, yes. And then serving in, Flipped Huntmaster is going to trade with Thragtusk. Hellkite's going to put him down to 1. And looking pretty good for one Mr. Nick Reid in this game. Adding an irrelevant Arbor Elf to the board, which is probably a mistake.
Well, does he have a better play?
When your opponent's at 1 life and plays board sweepers, you should probably just keep all the creatures in your hand. Yen's going to go ahead and use the strategy of dropping cards on the floor. Boom, he's going to Dreadbore that thing.
And he does it with force.
Yeah, Brad, Yen...
And joie de vivre.
I'm just going to say, Aaron, Yen knows there's a camera.
Definitely playing with the camera.
He is, I don't fault him for it. He hasn't got to play for like the last 3 weeks because he always gets here like 20 minutes after, because he works downtown up until like, sometimes 5 or 5:30 and then just can't make it. So.
5:30 and he can't get here?
Well, he's got I don't know where he lives. I mean, I don't know what his personal schedule is, but he has to go home and then come out. Because he works at the courthouse. Because sometimes he comes in like the 3-piece suit.
Oh, yeah. Forgot he's a lawman.
Both of the people who show up on our stream in, like, acceptable business attire are legal professionals. Zach Vilianco and Yen-shyang will show up in...
I might have had the quickest match ever.
You're playing... Tell us a little bit about this deck you're playing, because I saw you play it earlier tonight, and it has Rurikthar in it.
So, it's a Gruul aggro deck, but I think it works more as a mid-range kind of thing. I just want to ramp out and play fatties, and Rurikthar is just so good against anyone that wants to play spells.
Yes, which is most everyone.
Non-creature spells, obviously. But what else? I'm running 1 Savage-Born Hydra because I think he's fun, and he's somewhere I can dump my mana if I'm currently on the business end of my own Rurikthar.
Yeah, because you do have Rancors.
I do. Rankers, I do. But then if I'm going to play, I'm hoping to get the Rankers out early on other creatures and then pop Rurikthar. He's the top of the curve.
I want to try and pass this on. It's going to be very difficult, and I don't think you can see on my phone. No, it's not going to work. Earlier, I mentioned that one of the guys who's been following our stream the longest, which is a gentleman out in Missouri named Bilal Williams.
I believe it's pronounced Missouri, but continue.
Sure. He and his family are in Disney World for the week, and he's been taunting me with pictures of the fun and frivolity that one has with their family at Disney World while it's raining nonstop here. But he sent me a picture earlier tonight of he found a place to play FNM tonight while he was down there.
Really?
And he's one of the people who's won rock paper scissors before.
Okay.
Or at least he may have bought some because he saw it on the stream or whatnot. But he just sent me a picture of another game at the store who was also using rock paper scissors to start their match.
You started a trend.
I didn't
Look
start.
At you.
I started nothing except the Bad Beard Club.
I like to call it the Young Santa Club.
These guys are playing another game.
Santa's in training.
Looks like Nick is mulling to 6, and Yen is keeping his 7. Yen will be on the play as we move into the decider in this round 2 feature match.
Do you go after altars even if they're not good?
No, that was the... Aaron is looking at a page in my trade book, which is altars that were in a collection I bought, and I figured might as well put them in here. As you can see, I got rid of 2 of them.
I do see.
One of them was a Barter in Blood that's pretty good, and actually Drew Sure traded for it, for his Grixis deck. This Scribnibblers is not bad.
Actually, no, you're right.
The top row, this is like depends on your taste in art, but these are all pretty good.
I love Richard Kane Ferguson.
That's a good
and I
look.
think when they decided to get rid of artists like him and Foglio and guys like that, I think the game lost a certain aspect to it that I really love.
Since we're talking about art, a bone of contention amongst a lot of, Vorthos and just general fans who are conscious of the art, what is your opinion of as we see Yen with yet another 3 consecutive games with a turn 2 Farseek?
That's a good call.
The quote-unquote photography art, the John Avon style, highly rendered digital art.
Swanland too.
Yeah, I mean a lot of them use it. I just use Avon because he's probably not the most famous Magic artist because his stuff is very nice to look at. But it is highly digitized,
I think there's a place for it, but I don't like it squeezing out.
You like a healthy mix.
I do. That's why I like Richard Kane Ferguson. I like Nils Ham a lot. He might be my favorite.
Do you also just like ham, the food a lot?
I do like ham and variations therein, like bacon, general pork products.
I'm gonna go with
There just lands on the table. Oh, there's an absence pilgrim. I don't want to. I'm really good at disrupting the feed and talking about things that have nothing to do with the game.
I was walking into it. The last time Ian had 4 untapped mana, he spent 2.5 minutes to decide to play a Lily Mana. So, I think we've got a little bit of time here. This is an excellent spot by my man Kyle George in the chat, mentioning that, suggesting that I don't forget to remind people about our sponsor, AffinityForCards.com. They make sure to follow them on Twitter at AffinityForCards, as every 100 followers they do a giveaway. They've already given away a Bloodstained Mire, they've given away a promo foil Cryptic Command, and the next giveaway at 400 followers is a Windswept Heath. So make sure to follow those. I retweet those tweets a lot, so if you follow me, they should show up a while.
I'm not on Twitter.
That's fine.
Is it though?
Twitter's a thing that you don't actually have to use. You can just use it as like a news aggregator.
Oh, well, I mean, okay.
You can you get to choose who you want to see.
Ian's really mad at me. Or he was. He actually apologized for being a bad sport.
Oh, did he lose? Or did you play him?
Yeah, I beat him pretty quickly. Between Bonded Silverhawks and Hunt Masters, it was bad.
Well, that happens.
But his deck, when I saw it play against that Heartless Summoning, it was pretty scary. He got Braskout on me a couple times.
Oh, he's borrowing Garrett's deck, which is the junk mid-range deck with a bunch of Planeswalkers. It's very good. There's a Thragtusk. I don't know why he was showing it. But meanwhile, while we've been talking about this, Olivia came down and has gone to work, taking care of...
that Ralzeric?
It is Domri.
Oh, right, because we're not in those colors.
No.
Sorry, America.
So Domri's going to die now to Olivia, but you gotta play your cards for what they're worth. At this point, Nick is fairly far behind. He's
Why would it die? Oh, right, because it'll attack and I'm an idiot.
yeah, that's how Magic works. Is you can choose to attack the Planeswalker.
I've only been playing Magic since the mid-90s, so you'll have to forgive me.
I was talking to someone yesterday as I came down. I didn't draft yesterday, but I did come down during the draft because I just wanted to hang out and play some Magic. And there's another track test, sending in back up to 23. There was a new player who was trying to piece together an affinity deck for Legacy, just a budget affinity deck.
Sure.
And we were digging through my boxes to see what I could find, and I pulled out a couple long boxes, a couple thousand cards. He's like, man,
Broodstar?
he's like, no. He's like, man, you've been playing. He's like, that's a lot of cards. Is that your whole collection? I was like, no, I got a lot more at home. He's like, well, how long have you been playing? Like 2-3 years? And I was like 20 almost. Made me feel like an
I've
old
taken
man.
frequent sabbaticals from Thragtusk. Oh, you already talked about that.
You did it again. Or did you just notice?
I just noted.
No, because I'm the delayed. He hasn't even shown up.
No, I wasn't looking at it. I remember hearing you say Thragtusk earlier.
And
but
there's
then
a
I'm
Fiend Hunter taking care of
silly.
me.
I don't know why the counter was left on. She won't get it back.
That is for style points, I believe. As a Fiend Hunter doing they did not used to play Fiend Hunters in this deck. I think that's something that they figured out over time they needed. And it has good synergy with Domri, as you can basically effectively. That's a great way to draw a removal spell with your creature-only Planeswalker. So the 10th Thragtusk of the night piling in, knocking Nick all the way down to 9. And another Mizzy Mortar's taking out the Fiend Hunter, which means Olivia's back. So next turn, Nick is dead on board, assuming Yen realizes to ping his own Thragtusk once. There's nothing that Nick can cast here. I guess he could cast a...
Does he have enough to overload mortars?
Restoration Angel. You attack here, and if you get to blocks, you
Olivia's a base 3/3.
Yes. You attack here if you get through blocks. Go ahead and shoot your own Thragtusk.
Can Olivia shoot herself?
No, it's another creature, but it is not another creature you don't control, so you can shoot your own creatures. But I think Nick is not scooping here because Selesnya Charm is still an out. Yen deciding to shock himself here. It seemed like a relatively... Yep, and Nick was just making him go through the motions.
So I hear you're going to be playing Magic with the Commoners tomorrow.
I am. I'm going to play a little bit of Magic tomorrow.
Cool.
I've played in pre-releases. I haven't played in the... I didn't play in the last pre-release, only because I just was not in the mood to play Magic that particular day.
Sure.
But I played in the other two.
I'm ambivalent because, it's a new set, but then, I've seen the set. There are some things to like about it. I'm not going to sit and call it a dumpster fire.
Here's what I would do. Let's shift here. So we're actually on the camera now. I will not fault. Let's move over there. There you go. I would not fault anyone, especially as a lot of the people who play at the store are, college students, high school kids. I would not fault anyone for skipping this particular pre-release because of some kind of financial limitation. And the pre-release are expensive because you're paying, you're buying 6 packs. It's a $25 or $30 cost depending upon where you're playing. But, barring that, I don't know, it's still pre-release, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of intangibles that go along with the pre-release that, you have to factor in. Like, number one, a lot of people show up that don't normally show up. So especially for someone like myself who has been in the area for so long, you get people come out of the woodwork that you haven't seen in a long time. It's also a great opportunity to trade because people show up who haven't been, they want new cards, they have old cards that you want for your Cube, Commander, Modern, Legacy, whatever. That's always a thing. And it's just fun to play. And it's especially fun, too, because the way that they do the prize structure here is most of the prize structure is awarded for winning matches. So if you just win a match, you get a pack. And then at the very end, the 5-0 gets like another 3 packs, and the 4s get, something like that.
I think it might be the first time in a pre-release that if I win packs, I'll actually give them back for store credit. I'm so underwhelmed by this set. I mean, it's not awful, but there's not enough there for me that makes me want to buy packs.
Well, let's just call it like it is. The best card in the set is the promo you get when you buy the Steam game.
That is correct.
That is legitimately a thing. But there's some other good cards in the set, but again, nothing that's going to retain a lot of value, nothing that hasn't been printed already. I mean, the best card in the deck is Scavenging Ooze, and I think the second best card is Mutavault, which, you know, that's a great card because if you're playing Modern or Legacy and the need for Mutavaults, it's an easy way to get them, as opposed to, up until it was spoiled, it was $160 worth of Mutavaults. Now,
Really?
Now it's $60. It was a $40 card. Because Morningtide Rares were harder to come by than Modern Mythics. Like, just in terms of, like, you know, how the old Rares work. They didn't have Mythics at that point. And then you also have to worry about... oh, wait, did they have Rares and Mythics in that set?
No, Mythic started in Alara.
Yeah. They didn't start with the same... Planeswalker started in Lorwyn, but
Right.
not Mythics. Interesting. But and also it's a multi-format star. It's a 4 of in all the decks that play it. It's just hard to come by.
But outside of reprints, there's very little going on in this set that I really
like
like. I like the Hate Bear, the Imposing Sovereign.
Imposing Sovereign's cool, but like you're gonna be able to pick it up for like $2 afterwards in trade.
I mean, if we're talking value, it's right now it's Planeswalkers, and I'm not excited about any of them. They just are Planeswalkers.
Chandra is like
so
it remains to be seen if Chandra and Garrick are any good at all. The other ones are reprints. Johnny.
I like a Johnny. I know.
But he's already down to like $5, so it's not like. That's $5 is the minimum level for all non-Tibalt Planeswalkers.
Tybalt is one of the worst ever. Like, I think they had such tunnel vision about making a 2-mana Planeswalker that they forgot to, like, make it even slightly good.
He's the word random away from being somewhat
Exactly.
playable. Hey, Yen.
What's up? What's going on?
Not much.
Welcome back.
I know, right?
You know, right? Am I right?
That's not really the proper response, but whatever. Oh, right, my stuff is on this chair. That's why you're standing. Feel free.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of exciting. Some of the cards that are interesting just for standard's sake, not like cards that are going to make people rush out to their pre-release necessarily, but cards that will start showing up, I think, in legitimate decks. You've got the Cycle of Hate Bears.
There's a Cycle of Hate Bears?
Yeah.
Have I not caught it?
I mean, well, I call it Hate Bears, but they're just, you know, the Witch Stalker, whatever the red one is that, you
The
know,
creatures that were...
they affect the opposing wedge.
Yeah.
You know, they're enemy colors. You know, there's one...
The enemy colors, like, do something.
Yeah, there's...
Something or do something.
I love the art on that Witch Stalker, by the way. I love it.
His just looks
Little
like
dirty
it looks
wolf
like
thing.
Mudley from the old Hanna-Barbera
It does.
Yeah, it's really dumb.
I'm actually mostly excited for Young Pyromancer and Strionic Resonator.
Oh, okay, Shrine Resonator is awesome, but Shrine Resonator is going to be the same like Mimivat. It's going to be a card that goes in every commander deck. It's going to cost $2 for the life of its card until like 4 years from now when nobody has one, because there were 5 packs of M14 open in the world.
Yes.
But that's an awesome card. But again, you can pick that up later. But Liliana's Reaver is a pretty cool card, I think. But Chandra's Phoenix is also showing back up. Ratchet Bomb. But all the cards I just mentioned are either in intro decks or buy a box promo. Like, there's really... I don't understand, because, like, I understand they're clearly... And they've said so as much, at least in terms of the mana base. They're clearly watering down M14 because they can't have, like Return of Ravnica was chock full of powered cards.
Sure.
And Theros is probably going to be comparably chock full of powered cards. And you can't splice that in between with, like, a core set, which is also comparably packed with powerful cards.
But it's
like,
not that even it's powerful. It's really a boring set. And I know
there's no cards that anybody wants. The only card that anybody wants is when you can't get from a pack, you have to buy the game on Steam and get the Scavenging Ooze foil so I can put in my cube.
Well, it's basically Scavenging Ooze and people that want Mutavaults for their purple pets.
And the brand new players who want slivers. And why would you do that? Slivers, anger. Okay. Actually, one silver lining that I can think of is that at least you have some kind of Birds of Paradise variant with the green Mana Weft sliver. That's the only silver lining I could think of with slivers. Other than that, I really dislike the direction they went with.
Right?
Yeah, that's why it's almost.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if any of them. That's the Lifebane Zombie, I believe. It's the black color hoser, the one where it's 3/1 Intimidate and exile a green or white card from their hand. That card is amazing. At least for the 2 months when Thragtusk and Angel are still in play, that card is ridiculous. I mean, it gets so many cards. that are live in this format.
Can I tell you how happy I am that Thragtusk is leaving?
I think the world. I think the world is happy that Thragtusk is
So
leaving.
happy.
Now, see, they had made you saw it with the Titans. The Titans, dominated Standard. It was no good for anyone. Everyone hated them.
I agree.
I mean, they were very strong. I'm not saying that they weren't good cards, but, especially your casual players got tired of losing to, your Valakut decks in Standard and whatnot at FNM.
Well, Primeval is a whole other animal than the rest of the
Yeah,
Titans.
but the rest of them
too.
were still, ridiculously good. The worst Titan is better than any card in M14. And you can't even argue what the worst
I
Titan
agree.
is, because I guess it depends. You know what I mean?
they all...
Inferno Titan's not very good in some meta games. The
It
Frost
has to
Titan...
be between Inferno and Frost.
Right.
Well, the thing is, even then, they both saw their fair share of play.
There was a point in time where Frost Titan was a $20 card.
Yeah.
Because Blue-Black Control was the best thing you could be doing before Caw-Blade was a card. Before they printed
Caw-Blade.
Batterskull and Sword of Feast and Famine.
That was a dark time for
Yeah.
Magic.
Fortunately, I was not playing during that time.
Well, that's lucky for you.
Except for the fact that I probably would have opened a bunch of faces.
Yes. Well, yeah. But, so the
Get
thing
over
is...
yourself.
But everybody thought they're not going to print the Titans again. They're ruining Magic, and then they did. Not only did they print them again, but they made them promos
See, but-
for X-Men. But here's what they said. Wizards representatives have gone on record as saying, "Hey, but they've gone on record as saying that the reason they did that is because they wanted, with this new rotation system, they wanted people to buy cards, especially people who are buying core set cards, which are mostly casual players, because this market is an intro level thing. They want them to feel like their cards are going to last for Standard. You buy a card, it's good for 2 years.
See, you've told me that before, and I get it. But
Well, that's not like
there's
something I made up. That's something they've
no,
said.
but there's so little that gets carried over from core set to core set. I wish Grand Abolisher was still around. I love him. I love him so much. He was an M12. Other things I can't think of, but Grand Abolisher.
Do carry over though.
Yeah, but the commons, uncommons,
This said
the
more-
rares that I care
The
about.
lands carried over for 3.
Lands are. I'm fine with
the
that.
This is the first core set in the most recent iteration, ever since the Magic 20X.
The New World Order.
Yeah, that they haven't really carried over the bulk. I mean, Yen, you're exactly right. In most of the time, it's 20% change in a lot of common cards, and even the ones that they switch out are ones that they dropped in M11 and bring back in M12 and vice versa. But I can imagine what's going to happen in this Theros block that they're setting up for. Because they've clearly taken the power level of these cards. There's no card that's printed in 14 that has in-game potential. Chandra's Phoenix is I think people forget how good Chandra's Phoenix is if a red deck is viable. If there's a red deck, post rotation, everybody's on red, anyway, and that card is amazing because it's recursive 2 damage.
Well, half the reason everyone's in red is because you have those 2 overlapping core sets. You're going to have access to Searing Spear and Shock for a little while. I like that.
You don't have access to Lightning Bolt, so screw them.
Well,
I don't think Shock's going to be played that much yet.
Shock was never played to begin with because they've made the creatures so good that it's not. The reason
Pillar
Shock
of
used,
Flame's been played the whole...
that's because of Undying.
but
and
Pillar of Flame
stuff
kills
that.
Voice and Strangleroot Geist and things like that.
Fair enough.
And it does kill a turn 1 champion, so in that way it is the same thing. Because there was a period of time where killing a turn 1 champion was the difference between whether your deck was good or not. Could you do that? No, you can't? Well, then you want to lose. But
I'm gonna miss
they've
that.
made the creatures so big at this point that a Shock is not even really useful as a removal spell.
Right.
It is an instant, though.
during the overlap, you still have the pillar.
Yeah.
So.
But it'd be various. I'm secretly hoping, they've already said Theros is a, mythology-based set. We're kind of expecting, with the name, Greek mythology. I'm just saying, Zeus throws thunderbolts. Let's get Lightning Bolt back in there.
So how are they? Okay. So how are they going to do?
Your excuse to put Lightning Bolt
Yeah.
back in there.
How are they going
There are
to?
mountains in the set. There should be Lightning Bolt.
How are they going to do?
That's a perfect example.
It's like gods or something, based on that picture. Are gods pre-mending planeswalkers, or what are? Have they explained how they're going to do that?
I don't know.
No, Mark Rosewater's blog, everyone keeps asking him, tell me something about Theros, tell me something about Theros, and he repeatedly says, he says no, but then he says, San Diego Comic-Con Magic Panel, it happens in a week, show up and I'll tell you. I said, he was snarkily saying that you're going to find out some information about Theros there.
I mean, they did leak that promo rules card or whatever with Elspeth on it.
Yeah, we
There's
talked
a
about,
walker I'm happy to come back.
we talked about that earlier.
Oh, they're not gonna
And
breed
we
it
mentioned that a little bit, or at least
No, I know. I just
I posted in that discussion, as we are talking about in the Duels of the Planeswalker promotional set, there is an advertisement for Theros, and it contains what is clearly an image of Elspeth. So we'll probably see another
It's
iteration.
probably going to be a
of her.
Remember the Fallen reprint.
It would be brutal if it was like if it was some kind of Elspeth themed like sorcery spell and it's
Put some soldiers into play.
target player base gets pissed off. That's what but I did talk about that. There was actually an interesting discussion about that when I posted on the Facebook page, which is at facebook.com/ZachSellsMagic. There was a discussion about that when SpikeMo actually pointed it out to me last night. And there was people, a lot of people were mentioning about how they keep rehashing the same planeswalkers.
That was me.
No, you mentioned that you would like to see another one. There was a couple other people who were a little bit more firm about it, about how
okay.
how the more that keeps happening, the less they're interested in Magic. But I think it's clearly like hyperbole.
That's ridiculous.
But the thing is, and I explained it on there. Like, do you know the reason that they came up with planeswalkers? Have you ever read those interviews?
They want a story.
Yeah, you think about it.
Recurring
Like they've made 6 Fast and Furious movies because Vin Diesel is a character that they can promote. You know what I mean?
I don't even think
He's
Vin
not
Diesel.
in Fast and Furious 3, okay?
Okay,
But
he
Vin
did-
Diesel, wait, Vin Diesel is not the reason they sell, though. They sell because there's cars and explosions.
Well,
Now The Rock is in it. So.
That was that was probably a
Vin
bad
Diesel
example.
creates cars and explosions
But at
by
the-
walking across the
Just
screen.
cars
But
and
it-
explosions. What about all the?
But at the end of the day,
Yeah,
here's
I
a
don't know.
perfect
I
It's
think
not
they're
very
terrible
close.
movies.
Here's a perfect example. Here's a perfect example. You look at the most popular shows on television right now. You look at Breaking Bad. You look at Game of Thrones. Name any other show you can think of. Why do you watch those shows? Because you want to see what Walter White's going to do. You're invested in Walter White. You want to see about all the characters in Game of Thrones and all that kind of stuff. You have characters that you can push. Magic didn't have characters. They literally didn't.
They did,
No,
though.
let me finish. This is all stuff I mentioned.
See,
They
but
had
all the
characters.
stuff we talk about, it's always so long. Like, and I never get to make my point until we've moved on.
But-
But go.
It is Zach sells magic, right?
But you're right. They've had characters over the history of time. They had the Brothers War with the 2
The Rat
Artificers.
Cycle.
They've had
Kamal Pit
the
Fighter.
Weatherlight saga as well. But those guys come and go. They don't. A lot of them. The Mishra's guys, they're all dead.
Especially since
Lindor's dead, stuff like
since
that.
they started doing a new world every year, it's hard to have characters
So that's
show up.
So that's
again
why
and
they
again.
brought those out. Is there's something they can. If you look at the M14 packaging, Chandra's all over it. That it gives them something to do. Well, I was just explaining. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about some of the other people we're talking about. They have to keep reprinting that because that's what gives them cohesion in their product. It gives them a PR platform that they can say, "Hey, we've got the new set coming out. It's going to have great new cards, but don't worry, Garrick is still going to be there, and Johnny is still going to show up."
I understand that, but there's, especially Jace, so boring.
I would agree.
Like, I think you could go a core set without Jace. I think everything would be okay. And they're so terrible. Like when Tameo came out. Tameo is a flavor win. It's a powerful card. She's from a plane. The plane is awesome. The sets were terrible, but it proves that they haven't forgotten about it. That they're okay with making those kind of cool story bends, and that was really encouraging. But then lately, and some of the names even, like Gideon, Champion of
I know
Justice.
you mentioned that, and it's true.
And
the names are
Chandra
stupid.
Pyromancer, Garrett Collar Beast.
Master.
I don't care.
It's relevant.
Chandra Burn stuff.
I looked at that card like
Garrett,
a dozen
Big
times
Strong.
before I realized it said Pyromaster, not Pyromancer.
The thing is, I knew it said Pyromancer the first time
I
I said it.
think
I don't know why
I
said
think the
that.
reason is that because they print 5 planes, because they print 5 planeswalkers in the core set each and every time. That's where the overkill comes. It's because you always have a standard where you have the same stupid Jace Memory Adept. You always have.
Well, part of the
you know,
problem, they've talked about that before, and they have some sort of formula where they don't want to put too many planeswalkers, the card, for gameplay reasons, in standard. And so they have to reprint some of the planeswalkers in the core set. Otherwise, they have overlapping periods where they have like 15 planeswalkers, and they're afraid they're going to take over. That's exactly what they've. That is what Wizards has said.
Sure.
Word of the head designer.
And more importantly than that, they don't put. People want to buy. Look, I'm at the store a lot, and there's always people who randomly show up. They look in the case and they're just like, "Which planeswalkers do you have? I want to buy that planeswalker." They put planeswalkers in Magic 2014, so people will buy the stupid thing because they want to open Johnny Calder Pride or the new Garrick or whatever. Like, people want planeswalkers. That's just fun. They're just fun to have. But I agree. Like, it
But
would
they
be.
could still make them better. Just generally, maybe not better, but flavor-wise. Like if they thought of Tamio rather than, hey, let's do the fifth Jace brain owner. I'm sure will be the next one. Chandra Fire Lady, Johnny Kitty Cat, Liliana sickly emaciated former model.
Somebody posted that, like, I can't remember, it was one of the Wizard staff on Twitter was talking about, like, you just say Chandra, comma, then
It was Marco.
synonym for fire plus synonym for, like
Adept, or like something
like
master
that.
or something.
What
like
did I say?
Ashmaster.
Do you remember what I said? I forgot what mine
I
was.
think it was Chandra Burn stuff.
I don't know. It was.
It's like madness or madness.
I liked it enough that I actually posted it.
But then like Gideon, Champion of Justice, it sounds like a Saturday morning cartoon show.
I guarantee you there is someone who loves Gideon Champion of Justice. I guarantee you there's someone out there who's like, that's the coolest name ever.
Ian just played him against me. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Well,
oh my god,
that's
what am I
Garrett.
gonna do?
Garrett loves that card. And
Really?
he just wants to make it work.
Yeah, it's,
I think
That card is terrible, but it's alright.
I could see it kind of working against aggro, but
That card's terrible.
maybe.
That card's terrible.
that's
Trying to
just
find it. Y'all keep talking while I
okay.
try and find it.
See what else.
Now,
But
if you'd been red-white, would you have been happy? Because that's character development. You know,
Who?
his
What are
card
we
is
talking about?
Gideon. Because everyone thought he was going to be red-white. That was like
just
the whole-
because he had the picture with Aurelia.
Well, and yeah,
I mean,
well, he's also kind of like in Aurelia's army.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I get it.
I said Chandra Sterno Elite. I was very proud of myself.
I don't know what Sterno is.
Sterno's those little things that you light to keep a serving tray of food.
Oh! Had I known that, that would have been so funny.
Sterno Elite.
Okay, hindsight, it is very funny.
Nice.
They try sometimes to make flavor and do not very good job. I
Well, we've talked-
I read the Return to Ravnica Secretist.
Ooh, sorry about that. Someone told me how it ended. What a piece of garbage.
And listen, I was excited. I paid money to read.
How can you be obviously very book smart to accomplish
magic novels.
and then make the decision to pay for and then subsequently read. I wouldn't even think
They're
poorly of it
novelettes,
if you're
not
like, I'm going
novels,
to part with my
novellas.
hard-earned money for this book, and now I'm going to throw it in the river.
You could
Like
just
that
say,
just
like,
keeps one book. It keeps other
Well,
people
they're-
reading
they're
it.
You just said, I've got
It
this
was like
money. Would you
$6
throw it away from me?
Thanks, Davey. What?
But then, okay, like Garrett, Caller of Beasts.
Table 9, Zach.
Thank you, sir.
Garrick, Caller of Beasts. They're just
Table
restating.
Table 1.
They're restating his last name. Wild Speaker.
You know what's funny? I have a picture of it I posted. It's a Garrett colored beast. Doesn't make beast tokens. He's the only Garrett that doesn't make a beast token.
How am I a table lower even though I won? Oh, well.
Because it's randomized amongst the pairings.
Ah. He needs to concede to me because I saved his life today.
Is it Troy?
Yeah.
Are you playing this Rourke Thar deck?
Yeah.